There have been many yogis in the past who still are in some ways. They retain the subtlest part of their body intact and just let it be. Whenever they feel it's necessary, they are capable of recreating their old bodies. This is called as Nirmanakayas. So I just went up and I went to Kanti Sarovar, didn't know what hit me. My eyes were open, my mouth was shut, but I could hear my voice singing loudly around me, very loudly, like it's on a big microphone. Somebody said something about Babaji way back. Now everybody has started talking about him, they started making movies about him, everybody started seeing him everywhere. The reason why I always refrain from speaking of anything that is not yet in people's experience is because people have no hold or no control over their imagination. They will become very hallucinatory. 90% of the religion has become hallucinatory because people have no control over their imagination. Suppose I start talking about angels right now. You see all the white cloths and the blue cloth. The moment you talk about something that is not in people's experience, you will always see in any group of people, the most stupid will see it first. The intelligent will sit there and wonder what the hell is happening. Simply because they have no hold over their imagination, it just flies. Immediately they start seeing, they're not lying, they start seeing because they have no control over their imagination. So, I don't want to speak about Babaji as such because too much has happened in his name But is such a thing possible? There have been many yogis in the past who still are in some ways. They retain the subtlest part of their body intact and just let it be. Whenever they feel it's necessary, they are capable of recreating their old bodies. This is called as Nirmanakayas. Such people are known as Nirmanakayas who recreate their own body. Gautama, the Buddha, is supposed to be one of the Nirmanakayas. There are many others who recreate their own body as it was then, a youthful body as they liked it. Maybe this is 100 years later, 1000 years later, whatever number of years, because number of years is not at all the issue. What you call as time is, for this body, one kind of time, for another body, another kind of time, isn't it? See, for your body, 10 years means this much, 20 years means that much, 30 years means this much, 70 years means that much, it's like this. Suppose you take a dog, your 1 year, maybe 15 years for him, in his experience, isn't it? If you take an insect, maybe your 1 day is 50 years for him because in 2 days he'll be gone. So the experience of time and the way life experiences time is very different. In the life of this planet, 100 years may be just a second, we don't know the calculation, but it is very small, isn't it? So this is not just from human perspective. It is not about comparing everything to our lifetime and coming to it. Even in the perspective of that creature's life, it is so. Maybe not the same way as we calculate, but it's different in its perspective. So once you cross the limitations of the actual physicality and the logical mind, time is not an issue. You will see, once you get into a certain state of experience within you, you sit there. If you sit there for 1 hour or 2 hours, it feels like a minute. Time has always been a relative experience. Even in your life, in normal process of life itself, on a particular day you're very happy. 24 hours, just passed off like that, isn't it? Another day you're unhappy, 24 hours feels like a year, isn't it? So time is always a relative experience. As your energies get more intense, you will see time just flies faster and faster. If you're in a very intense state, 24 hours feels like just a minute, just goes. So, because when you live intensely within yourself, 1 year just goes like a whiz, you don't know what's happening. Before you turn around and see, years are just gone because you live intensely. As you become more and more intense in your experience, you will see time goes off like this. So once you have dropped your physical body, the earthy body that you picked up from the planet, now suddenly time is not an issue. What you think as 100 years later is nothing, just a moment later. So maybe just a moment later he came back, but you think he came back 500 years later. In his experience, he just turned around and came back. But in your experience, it's 500 years later. The more I talk about it, the more nonsensical it'll become. Because there is a point beyond which you cannot speak logically. Today, do you know, modern science is talking about fuzzy logic? Fuzzy logic means no logic, but they're unwilling to admit that they are becoming illogical. It's a shame for a scientist to be illogical. So they're discovering new words and they're saying it's fuzzy logic. If it's fuzzy, it's not logic, isn't it? So once I went, those days, today I just came back from Kailash I went to Australia and back. At that time, I just went by myself, by a local bus. Generally, I sat on top of the bus and went, because I didn't want to miss the mountains. And these are crazy buses. They start at 4:30 in the morning from Haridwar and go straight to either Gaurikund or to Badrinath. They have to get there, so they don't stop anywhere. So I went and sat on top of the bus because I don't want to miss even a bit of the mountain. And electric wires will come. He'll just shout, "Bijli!" You just lie down and again get up. So I went there without any kind of things. That's not the first time I went. I've been, I think about 26 years, I went continuously, every year. And just my jeans and my t-shirt, and I have a canvas jacket which I used to ride in South India. It's very good for the rain, but suddenly I realized when you go to the cold, the damn canvas jacket gets colder than the atmosphere. So I just went up and I went to Kanti Sarovar. It was around 3:30 in the afternoon. I just sat there and I didn't know what hit me. I was just sat there with my eyes open. It's an incredible glacier lake. It's as nature, it's phenomenally beautiful. And my eyes were open, my mouth was shut, but I could hear my voice singing loudly around me, very loudly, like it's on a big microphone. Nada Brahma Vishwaswarupa Nada Brahma Vishwaswarupa Nadahi Sakala Jivarupa. And I'm just looking. It's my voice clearly singing this chant. For the first time I'm hearing it, but it's in my voice. But my mouth is clearly shut. So I sat there listening to this, and that's what we chanted just now. Sound is not seen as a physical quantity, it is seen as the last bastion of physicality. In yoga, we are looking at the sound as the last citadel of physicality. Beyond that, there is no physical. It means sound is everything and sound is life. All the life forms are sound. Sound means a vibration. Today modern physics is proving everything is just a reverberation in the existence. And what is karma and what is dharma means, what entangles you is karma, what liberates you is dharma. Both are sound. What is bondage and what is liberation, that is also sound. What is referred to as Shiva and Shakti, that is also sound. Everything is sound. Whatever you know as physical creation is a sound because everything has a vibration. Where there's a vibration, there is a sound. Whether you can hear it or not is the only question, but there is a sound. Wherever there is a vibration, there is a sound.